Welcome to another PressXtoTrade podcast. My name is Sachin and this is Tom. I'm a creator of PressX.
Hi.
This is lead content creator and editor. What's going on, Tom?
I'm trying to catch this booky monkey, it's a bit jumping out the ball.
What is that word? Booky. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Well, it's spelled like booky,
Like
then
B-O-O-K-Y?
B-O-O-K-Y, yeah, and it's just like, it's kind of an all-purpose word when someone is like, it can be either like a bit...
Is it a bit, it's when something's
it's
a bit
hard to
funky.
explain.
It's a bit...
Yeah, basically, it's
Not
kind
funky,
of a
but
replacement for
not
funky.
funky.
No, that's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
It kind of is like
funky.
funky.
What's the word? People say it's quirky,
Yeah, quirky as well, that's another one.
but booky. Okay, I like that.
But it's kind of all-purpose, like it can be applied to most... You could say it and people will just understand what you mean. It's one of those weird words.
Yeah. You know, I was so there was no podcast last week, as some of you may know because I tweeted about it. Me and Tom have been very busy.
Oh, so busy.
But yeah, so when I was in, I was actually in Canada for the week, and yeah, when I was over there, obviously like with my family, there was some slang terms being said, and obviously I didn't know what was going on. Actually, even today, I was saying to my friend, I was like, "Oh, do you rate him?" It was a stream, and he's like, "What do you mean? Do I rate him?"
No, that's not even like slang though. That makes sense without like a slang context.
Yeah, I know. There's some words where you can just, I feel like you can say,
Yeah,
and they'll
that
be like,
makes
they'll just
sense.
kinda get it, but he didn't understand. He was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, in this context, like, do you rate the streamer, as in like, do you sort of like think he's worth your time to watch him?"
Yeah,
Like that was the best way I could put
exactly.
it for the streamer, but I couldn't really word it. That's the best way I could word it.
No, it makes sense. Like
Yeah?
that's
Like,
what
is
you're
he worth
asking.
your
Yeah.
time? Do you think he's good enough to
Yeah.
do it?
It's basically just do you think they're good?
Yeah, the conclusion was no, he does not rate him. So I was
Okay,
like,
he does not rate him.
He is not rated. No.
No,
But
that's
yeah.
the worst feedback you can receive. Don't even get any ratings.
so booky.
Shit.
Booky.
Booky.
You know, this
Booky.
podcast is pretty booky.
Podcast is pretty booky.
Yeah, pretty booky podcast. We got a little.
That's true.
Get
Booky.
booky on.
I'm a bookeeper.
So did you catch the
It's
monkey?
like a zookeeper.
Sorry, what?
A monkey, yeah. I was zookeeper, but for bookie dons.
Oh man. Anyway, so we are PressXtoTrade and we talk about all things gaming, like things that are like currently
Yes.
in the news, or things that we love or hate about gaming, things about the gaming industry. We like to talk about it here. This is our sort of platform to do so, and I hope that you guys also see that as well. So feel free to let us know what you guys think about any of the topics that crop up. But yeah, so what have you been playing this week, my dude?
Oh god, what have I? Oh, I've been playing a lot of Zeus Master of Olympus again. I got deep into it.
Nice.
I'm doing all the adventures, which are like sort of campaigns. You get quest objectives and stuff. And you've got to make a city a certain way and fulfill certain requirements. You got to get like a certain number of marble or wine or whatever for a certain number of people in. Super nice and shit like that. It's like if you know city builders, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Oh,
yeah. So
wow.
we discussed the other day with like it's like Vero, but the
Yeah.
most popular one.
That was like a month ago. I mean, it wasn't a month ago. But
Yeah, it was when you were playing God of War. But
yeah,
I remember
that was
it
like 2.5 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. So why have you continued to sort of like play it? Is it because it's peaceful?
It's because I've got a lot of audiobooks to listen to. Because I've got an exam coming up. I've got to go over a maximum. Well, I've got to reread and study 5 books that we studied throughout the term. So yeah, I've listened to like 40 hours of audiobook in the past. No more than that, about 50 hours of audiobook in the past week.
Wow.
So I've just been playing.
What are you listening to while you play?
In order, North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. The Other Runaways by Sachin. Italian by Anne Radcliffe. Dare the Truth.
What? Italian what?
The Italian by Anne Radcliffe.
Oh, I thought you said the Italian bang wrangler.
No, that is not what I said.
What are you? I'm a professional bang wrangler.
Bang or angler. What does that even mean?
I
Like,
don't know.
oh, shit.
Maybe the bank wrangler. That makes more sense.
Bank wrangler.
He's an Italian, like Italian job style, Italian bank wrangler. Yeah.
Yeah, Dare the Triffids by John Wyndham, and the other one that I always forget. Wait, is that 5?
It's 4.
Oh, I've got the books here. Turn of the Screw by Henry James.
What genre are they all?
Romance. Now, that romance isn't like what you think it is. Romance isn't like rom-com.
Yeah,
it's not.
I know exactly what.
It's not like just
romance books.
kissy.
Yeah, there's a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or.
I mean, the books we study is literally always man and a man. Sorry, man.
Or more. Everyone, basically, it's one party or person and another party in person, and they love each other very much. And in the book, something happens where they grow close, and then they have they engage in sex.
No, that's not what romance is.
That's what romance books are. Yeah.
That's what I meant when that is not what you expect. Yeah, that's what you expect.
I know. I'm just messing.
I know. Yeah. It's like it's so much. It's kind of ambiguous. Like all this. Like Dare the Triffids, for example, it's a book set in the post-apocalypse of giant plants running about, and there's only romance by merit of the fact that the two main characters, Bill and what's the name, Josie.
I think we just.
Okay. So the romance is like a secondary thing, but it comes under the romance genre still. I mean, it'll first be sci-fi.
Yeah.
Shit.
You're lagging a little bit, so forgive me if I miss anything, but I
Sorry.
It caught up.
Uni internet.
Okay, cool. So it's more of like a relationship building sort of thing.
Kind of, yeah. You just sort of see it happen throughout the book, and like Turn of the Screw. I mean, that's a horror story. It's like a really basic horror story about a kid. It's about two kids that are possessed by the ghosts of two.
But those two kids
servants.
love each other very much, and they grow.
It's
in their relationship.
The reason why that book is romance is because
possession in common.
Yes, almost. It's because the two ghosts of the servants that used to work in this mansion were in love, and they both died. And the two ghosts are trying to get it on by possessing two kids.
So that the kids can get it on for them.
I guess. And also there's also an even weirder element of romance in that the woman that comes to look after the kids for their uncle,
also
she has like a weird attraction to the children.
Yeah, it's called.
It's so strange.
It's illegal.
Yeah, there is an element of paedophilia to it. Like she kisses the boy in one of the chapters. It's super weird.
Women
no, but like not like a kiss on the head.
Kiss on the head,
like a full-on kiss on the lips. And the film version's even worse. She like fully goes in. It's like tongue and shit and everything. It's not really. She goes in. Yeah. Okay. It's a pretty acclaimed book.
What's this one called?
Turn of the Screw.
Turn of the Screw. Okay, well, if that comes up, I'll remind myself not to watch that or listen to it or read it.
Don't. I mean, it's weird. It's very weird.
So you've been reading. You've been listening to these audiobooks while you've been playing Master of Olympus.
And also some more.
Anything else you've been playing lately?
Yeah, some more. Slay the Spire.
Oh yeah.
I've been slaying, man.
That coming along.
Oh, I don't like it that much. It's alright, but it's kind of booky, you know.
Yeah, it's a booky.
It's not the one. It's a booky done. Yeah. Well, I'm an ironclad boy, which is the default character, the kind of warrior character, and because it's
that's the closest thing to a paladin that you could get.
Basically, it's a simple you just attack things and gain strength. Like a lot of the builds for ironclad. Obviously, it's RNG based, but you want to go for strength builds, right? So you want to get cards that up your strength, and you want to get cards that. I mean, you can do block builds with the Ironclad as well. So you attack based on your defense now.
Yeah.
So you deal damage based on how much block you currently have and stuff like that. But it's very basic. The second character, the Silent, is like a poison class, a little bit more complicated. There's also shivs. You can make a shiv build where you get cards that power up shivs and give you more shivs and shiv. And there's the new one, the what's it called? Shit.
Stabby.
defects is like a magic build. It's got the trifecta going on. You've got the warrior, not really ranger, but kind of roguish character, and then mage. And it's a robot who has these orbs.
How far have you gotten?
Well, I've beaten it with all the characters.
It must be really fun if you're continuing to play, because you don't play. This is a type of game that you'd think that I would get and that you wouldn't play.
Yeah, it is. It's
something. It feels like a game that I would enjoy, and it was something that I would continuously play, like some sort of like start again type permadeath, unlock like things.
Exactly.
Punish.
It's got a very similar
RNG
replayability to Isaac.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you or talking at the same time as you because it's a bit laggy.
Oh yeah, no worries. It's all coming through nice and clear on my end right now.
Cool, but yeah, no, it's good. Once you beat the game 5 times, I think, with any combination of characters, you unlock Ascension mode.
Nice.
Which gives you, it gives you difficulty multipliers. So Ascension 1, like I think enemies do more damage, just standard enemies, and then Ascension 2, the effect of the previous Ascension carries over, and another effect comes on. So there'll be like bosses do more damage, and also enemies do more damage.
I have a question.
And it stacks each.
I have a question. This is why I haven't bought the game yet. When I saw the game being played on the stream, it looked like you didn't have that much control over what was going on, and that most things were RNG, and that you didn't really like contribute to the win or progression necessarily. The only thing I think, though, so as far as I know, the only thing you choose is every time you win, you gain like an option to pick a card or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you're in battle, it's the cards you choose. But other than that, everything's quite random.
So you get a map, which is how you navigate the floors.
Yeah.
On that map, you have standard enemies, question marks. I'll explain them in a second. Elite enemies, bonfires where you rest and upgrade skills or cards, and shops where you spend gold and buy cards or relics or skills.
Yeah.
So the standard enemy types, it's an RNG encounter, in that the enemy you face will be randomly selected from a list of enemies that appear on that floor. But the encounters, once you've played enough, you'll become very familiar with, right? So say like the first encounter you get 3 grubs, which enemies that you fight. After like 10 times of fighting these grubs, you know what they do completely. So you know in which order to kill them, you know what cards to use against them. You learn how to get them down quickest. And I mean, you get a starter set of 10 cards, right? So you know what you've got coming in. So there is an element where you can control the outcome of these fights. So for example, with the Ironclad, his starter relic is that you restore 6 HP after each combat, right? So if you're on full health, you know that you can take 6 damage in that fight to be at full health at the end of it because you heal it back. So
wait, question: does health carry on over to the next battle? Or do you always go for?
Yeah.
Oh, so if I lose 10 health in a battle, the next fight I'll have 10 less health.
You'll have 10 less health,
Okay.
And the health remains as it is at the end of every battle until the end of the floor and after you kill the boss. And then after you kill the boss, it restores to full. Unless you're on Ascension 5, I think, and then you heal less from bosses. So you start the next floor with... It's rarely full health because you'll take damage in that fight.
Wow, that sounds really difficult.
You'll be at less health.
I'm sure
it's tough,
streamers out there or people online who have like got the perfect sort of.
Oh yeah.
They're really into the meta game, and so they probably have like certain builds. Do you find the builds fun to do, like to try and do different ways?
I mean, at the moment, I'm just trying to blast through Ascension mode. I'm on Ascension 6, and I've kind of hit a wall there. But I'm basically just doing Ironclad strength runs through Ascension.
Are there loads of fun builds that are just completely unviable?
There's not that many builds. I don't know about the defect, but I can only think of 2 builds for each character. Strength and block for the Ironclad, poison and shiv for the silent. I think there's more for the defect because the defect has orbs, and you can get lightning, frost, plasma, dark, think that's all of them. So I imagine you could feasibly do a build for each of those. I always go lightning because it seems like the best one. So lightning just do it, but it's a basic damage dealer. So at the end of your turn, however many orbs you have, say you have 3 lightning orbs. At the end of each turn,
that's a mechanic in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, those lightning orbs will deal 3 damage per orb to a random enemy. Frost, it gives you 2 block per orb at the end of your turn. Dark, Dark's a bit complicated. So at the end of each turn,
why is Dark more complicated, Tom?
What? It's not. Are you trying to get me to say something racist? Is that what you're doing? So the dark orb, at the end of every turn, there'll be a number counter that will go up by 7 at the end of each turn. And when you activate that orb, the number that it's currently on, so it'll be on 28, will deal that amount of damage to an enemy. So basically, if you have a card that plays the orb, you'll just deal a huge amount of damage to an enemy. And Plasma, its passive effect is you get an extra energy per turn, or maybe 2 extra energy. No, you get an extra energy, and then when you play it, you get an extra 2 energy. And Lightning, when you play it, it deals 8 damage to a random enemy. And Frost, when you play it, you gain 5 armor, I think. So Frost to me seems kind of shit because you gain such a small amount of armor. Like most, if not all, enemies hit over 5.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a waste unless you can buff the block you get. But I'm not sure.
What's the most amount of damage you've done in one turn to one enemy?
I've killed a boss in one turn.
Wow.
Not on the first turn.
Was that planned? Like, is the game supposed to allow stuff like that, or do you just happen to get lucky?
Yeah, it definitely allows it. But yeah, I got super lucky. Like there's a card that if the enemy is planning on attacking, you gain 3 strength or 4 strength if you've upgraded the card. So I had like 4 of those upgraded. And there's also a card called Flex, and you play it and you gain 2 strength that turn or 4 strength if it's upgraded that turn. So I had multiple relics that let me draw more cards, and I had multiple relics that gave me more energy. So I drew like 2 flexes and I think 3 or 4 of the ones that you could up your strength with they did damage. Like on my second turn I had like 12 strength or something, and then I did just like 300 damage.
Wow.
Because I also had like the next turn I had cards that did like crazy high damage, and the boss was vulnerable, so they took more damage too.
If anyone's interested in
it's definitely possible.
If anyone's interested in say the Spire, it is like that sort of dungeon run RNG, but there's like cards involved, so it's not really about pressing buttons, but it's more about like playing sort of your own sort of strategy, or the RNG might give you a certain certain set of cards that you end up having to mold your strategy around. So it is pretty fun. I think I should definitely pick it up. I think it's a game I'm really going to enjoy, but I just need to give time to it and play it.
Yeah, it's definitely a U game. The RNG, you sort of decide what you're going to do with the run.
Yeah.
Like if you defeated a boss on your previous run, at the start of your next run, like a whale guy will appear and he'll be like, "Yo, I've got some good shit for you." And you can choose from 4 options, and the options will be like gain a random card, or gain a random relic, or lose 50% of your max health. Or no, it's lose 50% of your current health and gain 16 max health. And like lose your starting relic and gain a random boss relic.
These are like little permanent things.
Yeah, so
I like those. I like the risks. I like the risks.
Yeah, so say you pick gain a random relic.
Yeah.
And you get the relic that gives you 10 block on your first turn.
Yeah.
You might think, okay, well, I want this run to be a block run, right? So whenever you win a combat, you pick cards that give you block and play into the block deck, for example. So often assuming you defeated the boss in the previous run. Well, you don't even have to defeat the first boss. You have to get to the first boss encounter, and there you can literally just abandon the run and restart, and you'll get the whale. So yeah, you can that informs what kind of build you can do. What I'm trying to do at the moment, there's an achievement for winning the game with a deck that has 5 or less cards in it. Wow. Now that's super hard because for a start, you start the game with 10 cards.
Yeah.
And there's a whale option that is either remove 1 card from the deck, or I think it's lose 50% of your current health and remove 2 cards.
Wait, you have to end the game with 5 or less cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can go through most of the game.
Strategize it towards the end to lose all your cards. Yeah.
Exactly. So the way you can remove cards from your deck while you're actually in the game, the easiest way is the shop. The merchant has a card removal service that costs 75 gold and then goes up by 25 each time you use it. Unless you have a relic, which makes it 50 gold each time you use it. And you can remove one card for that. Also, you get the question mark runes sometimes have a random encounter that lets you remove a card from your deck.
This sounds like a challenge run.
It's a very difficult challenge run. I've attempted this on, not even on Ascension mode, just on standard mode, probably about 50 times, and I've never got the cards I need. Like I know how I want to do it. I want to do, there's a card called Dropkick,
Okay.
which if an enemy is vulnerable, you deal 5 damage, gain an energy, and draw a card, right? So there's also a card called Jewel Wield, which duplicates an attack card in your deck. So I remove as many cards as I can. This is the dream. Let me see if I can remember all this. I remove as many cards as I can. So I'll have 2 drop kicks, 1 Jewel Wield, and probably I'll have a bash, which deals 8 damage, 10 if you upgrade it, and 2 vulnerable, 3 if you upgrade it.
Are you about to tell me like the 5 cards like?
Yeah, this is my dream.
Okay.
This is my dream ultimate 5 card deck.
So 2 drop kicks, 1
2 drop kicks, 1 Jewel Wield, 1 bash, or 1 thunderclap. That works too, which deals 4 damage to all enemies, and it also applies vulnerable to all enemies.
Yeah.
Vulnerable is key here because of drop kick. Either a bash and a thunderclap, 2 thunderclaps, or a thunderclap and some sort of block card. So that's the dream. For relics, I need, preferably I'd like the relic that at the start of each combat applies 1 vulnerable to each enemy. That's really good. I want, I forget what it's called. It might be called Peace Pipe. It's some sort of pipe, and it's rare. So when you rest at a campsite, you can remove a card from your deck. That's super good early on. I think that's it. Is there another relic you need for this? I like the pyramid that instead of drawing cards each turn, no, you start the game with more cards than you would usually, and each turn you draw 1 less card per turn. So if you've only got 5 cards, right, you play Dropkick. Assuming vulnerable's applied, you play Dropkick. Now first you Jewel Wield, so you duplicate a Dropkick. Then you play a Dropkick, and it goes into your discard pile, which you draw from. Hang on. Yeah, it goes into your discard pile, and then you play another Dropkick. And because you have to draw a card, and you've already... Okay, let me start this again. Okay. So combat, you draw 5 cards immediately. Right. You've got your 5 cards, you've got nothing in your draw pile.
Yeah.
So you play a Dropkick, it goes to your discard pile, but because the effect of that card is if an enemy is vulnerable, you gain an energy and draw a card. The card that you just played goes from your discard pile back into your draw pile, and you draw it. So now you have the Dropkick that you just played back in your hand.
And when does the Jewel World come into place?
Okay, that's not true actually. You play the Dropkick after you've Jewel Wielded, so now you have 2, and it goes into your discard pile.
Yeah.
That's it. Then you play the other Dropkick, and then you get the first one back. And then you play the second Dropkick, and get the first one back again, and then keep doing that. But it's basically just an infinite chain.
Okay, is this like something that you saw on Reddit, or you just made this up? Like...
I think I saw this on YouTube. I didn't make this up myself. I don't remember when I saw it. But... So every time the remove 2 cards from your deck option comes up at the start, I try and do that run.
Yeah. Do you ever like?
And it never fucking works.
Do you ever like you look at a challenge in a game, and you're like, damn, I can probably like do this. I know there's some way, and then you kind of like give up because you're lazy, and just really interested, and you look at the solution, and you're just like, oh, I could have thought of that. That's not even that hard.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It happens often. It's because the only reason I didn't think of it is because I always ignore Dropkick on my normal runs, because it's kind of useless if you have a big deck. And also, the thing that I wanted to do first, before I found out about this, was I wanted to use a card called Rampage. And Rampage is a 1-cost card, which is super good. It deals 8 damage. Mm-hmm. And when it goes back into your deck, the damage it deals next time you draw it is increased by 4. Or 8 if you upgrade it. So if it's upgraded, your 8 damage goes into your discard pile. You draw it again, it now deals 16 damage. Discard it, draw it again, 24 damage.
Oh, wow,
goes up by 8 each time. So if you've got a 5-card deck, you will draw this card every turn. So you'll be doing plus 8 damage each turn. So I thought that would be good initially.
Oh yeah.
But I played a game where I had like 3 rampages, and still things were killing me.
Really? Oh,
I would just run out because I didn't have much block, so they would just
I
let me
suppose
down.
like during the ramping phase, you do need a little bit of block.
Yeah. So if I had like 2 rampages, and I don't know, maybe there's a card that you play that gives you 30 block, and then exhausts. So when a card exhausts, you can't play it again for that combat.
Interesting.
It's like the what's called in Magic when you it's the same effect. There's a discard pile and there's a permanently discarded pile.
Graveyard.
Yeah, it was. I thought graveyard was the discard pile. And you go there. There was another.
I don't know.
I'm getting all my card games confused. There's so many I've played throughout my life. I just Hearthstone as well. There's not one of those.
Hearthstone doesn't have a.
No.
They don't have a name for it. Although it's part of the mechanic, they don't have a name for it.
Is there a permanent discard pile in Hearthstone?
No. They don't have a pile for discarded cards, but it is part of the game.
Yeah.
Because when you go to like revive revive a friendly minion that died this game, and you cast that like a resurrect spell.
Resurrect.
But it doesn't actually say like, oh, look in the discard pile for whatever. It's just
of course. No.
It's funny because in Magic there are cards that are like go through, like you're allowed to look at the whole discard pile and pick the card, and it's funny because all the cards come up on the screen at once, and you have to like waft through them, which is cool, but it's quite.
And then you see the Primal Crux that you played earlier and died. Man, like Primal Crux. Best card ever.
Yeah.
I think that card's actually kind of shit. I don't want to hear if that's true or not.
I don't. I want to believe
that's my boy right now.
I want to believe it's the best card in the game. It's like Exodia, but it's Primal Crux.
Oh man. Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So say the Spire has been pretty good for you this week.
Yes, that's a good time. Yeah.
How much is it on Steam?
I don't know. Probably 15 quid.
It's probably like around under £15, I imagine.
I think it's 40.99.
Yeah.
Really.
It sounds it.
No, maybe it's 10. It was somewhere in the 10 to 15.
All right, I might pick it up.
Yeah, I think you should. It's got the same kind of replayability as Isaac. So
yeah. That sounds good. Sure. This week I haven't really been playing much, obviously because I've been away. But I've been playing some Hearthstone on my
I was going to say
some Wi-Fi, just sort of like being like these kids on casual mode because I don't want to play ranked in case like I drop the connection or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm playing this Control Mage deck, which I never thought I would ever play because I don't like playing Mage. But when I realised how broken Jaina is for the Lich King,
fuck you! I hate those decks.
As soon as you play Jaina, right, you immediately you immediately get a minion on the board, right, and all your elementals.
Yeah, it's awful.
And every time if you were to deal 1 damage with your hero power and it would kill an enemy, you gain an elemental off of it. So it's just and I have all these control spells like Flame Strike and Blizzard and Polymorph and the Voodoo Doll. Do you know what the Voodoo Doll does?
No.
It's a 3-mana 1/1. When you play it, select any minion, so theirs or yours, and when that doll dies, so does the minion it's selected.
Oh, fuck yourself.
And it's a 1/1, so you basically play it, and then you hero power it to get a 3/6 elemental.
Oh my god! You can hero. Hang on, you can hero power your own minions to get your own elemental.
Yes, that's how it works.
What?
So any minion.
The fuck? I didn't know that.
So if you're
even more disgusting.
And obviously they all have lifesteal because they're all elementals.
You can just play like fucking leper gnome or some shit. What is that?
Oh no, yeah, but you wouldn't like. Remember, you need to play the 9-mana card, which is Jaina, to actually be. So there's you can polymorph and then do it, because it's a 1/1 sheep.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Yeah, if something has 5 health, you flame strike and do it. If something has 3 health, you blizzard and do it. There's quite a few ways to do it.
This deck is fun. Let's just explain the
Meteor Strike, deal 15 damage to 1 minion and 3 to the others.
What's it called? Is it Ice Elemental?
Water.
The 3/6. Water Elemental, that's it, of course, yeah. So, Water Elemental is a 3/6 card. It costs, what, 4? 4 mana.
Oh, no, I don't even have the Water Elemental card in my deck. You don't need that.
Fuck, yeah, you don't even need that.
It makes them as you use your hero power.
Yeah, so it makes them as you use your hero power. If you do 1 damage to any minion on the board, it summons a 3/6...
Well, it has to kill the minion. It has to kill the
minion, yeah. So 3/6 for a start. 6 is kind of hard to deal with in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
unless you're a priest. If you're a priest, you can Shadow Word, death it or whatever.
Shadow of Pain,
Um,
yeah.
Shadow of Pain, that's it.
'Cause it's
So,
6d6, yeah.
like six health is difficult to deal with for most minions because
sure.
you don't, most minions you play don't have more than 6 damage, and you've got to hit it multiple times in some cases. So you've got to hit this thing like 2 or 3 times. Each time you hit it, it gets 3 lifesteal, which gives back the hero 3 life points.
Yeah. And it freezes them.
And it freezes them on contact, and it can also freeze your hero if it attacks your hero.
Yes.
This card is like... It's not that bad if you just have a normal water elemental in the deck, but this card, when it multiplies exponentially every time you kill an enemy with your hero power, it becomes one of the most annoying things to deal with in the game.
For sure, there are been. So I was watching this streamer play Hearthstone, and he was playing a druid, and his opponent was a mage, and he played Jaina, and he looked at all of he had like 10 cards, right?
Yeah.
And he was fatigued, so there's no more cards to draw. So we're at the end game, and the enemy played Jaina, and he looked at his cards and went, "If I play any single card, this person will get a water elemental," and he conceded. And everyone on the stream was like, "Why do that? Like, you're such a bad player, blah blah. Like, don't you get it?" And he was like, "Guys, it doesn't matter what I play. The enemy can get an ice elemental, a water elemental, and gain lifesteal and like, there's nothing I can do."
Yeah.
But
it's just wasting your time.
Mage's like dead, bored. So he just conceded, and I've had that a couple times. I'll play Jaina, and they haven't conceded, but they've tried to like play around it, but they're playing minions that playing any minion is good enough for me as long as I can deal the killing blow with my hero power.
Yeah.
It's a really good hero power, but it does lose to stuff like Quest Rogue, and it does.
Who still plays Quest Rogue?
Well, you'll be surprised because once everything is a 5/5, it's really okay. If you polymorph like one of their minions, it doesn't matter. That sheep is now a 5/5 sheep because that's how the quest works. It's like,
I know the deck. I used to play the deck, but since the nerf, like I haven't seen that many people playing Quest.
What happened? What was the nerf?
They did something to the quest.
Oh.
It used to be, I think. What is it now?
I believe it to be play the same minion like 5 times or something like that.
Yeah, so it used to be play the same minion 4 times. They upped the amount of times you have to play the minion.
Oh, okay. And that.
So it used to be much better because you used to be able to.
Shadow step.
Yeah, so you'd have 2 shadow steps
and
two pandas.
Yeah,
whatever the panda is that returns. So and then you could play the same minion feasibly 4 times in one turn. Like. It'll be super easy. But now for 5, like they added 1 extra time, and that 1 extra time, it doesn't fuck it, but you can't
it's enough to
do it in the same way.
Next turn sort of thing.
Exactly.
Having to wait.
So it adds an extra 1 or 2 turns to what would be like a turn 5 win.
Yeah.
So it just makes it. It takes you longer to win, and by the time.
Did you ever combo it with Sonya?
No, I don't think so.
So you can play, the pirate, the 2/1 pirate with charge. If you have a weapon, you can play Sonya, and then you play him for 1 mana, and he's a 5/5, and you just drive him into something to kill it, and then obviously because he died, Sonya gives you a 1/1 version, like a 1 mana version of it, and you just keep, but it's a 5/5 because that's the
exactly. Everything in the deck is now a 5/5.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's rough, man.
But that kills my control mage even towards the end because like it's so hard to deal with 5/5s all the time.
Especially if they only cost 1 mana, so you can feasibly play like 6 minions per turn.
Yeah,
you can fill up all.
You have to like destroy them because if they get vanished back into their hand, it's like doing all over again. You've already spent your resources, so
they'll play like 3 charge 1 mana minions that are now 5/5, and then they'll attack a frost element. They'll take 3 damage. And then they'll kill like 2 water elements, and then they'll send all their minions back to their hand. Sorry, so they regain all their health, and they can play them again next time. Yeah. It's just
so Quest Rogue beats it, and also Aggro Mage beats it 50-50. It's still fairly good, and I think everything else just loses like a lot.
Pretty
very,
much.
very, very high win percent. Except it does also lose to Shadowwalk Shaman. Which there's been a new update, and they've made it so that the Shadowwalk animations are super quick. So it's
Oh,
really
really?
good. So yeah, like they're super good.
That's
So you can
better.
play like multiple a turn, and it just like ticks and ticks and
Yeah.
ticks, like a lot faster than waiting for every single animation to play out at its
Yeah,
normal
for sure.
animation speed, which is
Super
really
long.
good. So yeah, that's pretty handy. So yeah, I've been playing some Hearthstone. I've been enjoying it. I've gone past my mental block of rank 15. I'm now rank 13, pushing towards rank 12.
Sick.
Yeah,
Well
still
done.
not amazing.
We'll
But
never
the
dip
control
below
stuff is
15
pretty
now.
fun. I've been playing some mobile games, obviously, because
Ugh.
on your
Get out of this
on
podcast. What are you
holiday.
doing?
I know. I've been playing. I'm not even gonna go to them, but I'm playing some mobile games to keep my like hands like sort of busy.
Mhm. What have you been playing?
Well, you want to
Have you been playing Harry Potter Mystery?
Oh gosh, no, I don't. Is that the new Harry Potter game?
That is the new Harry Potter
Have you
game.
played that?
Yeah. No, Jem was playing it,
Oh.
and then gave up because of the energy system.
Yeah, someone said it was actually a really horrible game.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
super
download
archaic
was-
2006 Farmville energy system.
Jeez,
Like, what is this? It's been around since the dawn of time.
that is pretty.
Motherfuckers still using it.
Yeah,
Everyone
so
hates it.
Other than that, I haven't been playing too much. But I actually, you know what? I don't think I've mentioned this, but I've been playing a bit of Brawlhalla.
I barely even know what that is. I do know what it
Okay,
is.
so it's
barely
if anyone doesn't know, Brawlhalla is a free-to-play game. It's basically a sort of lesser version of Super Smash Brothers, or PlayStation All Stars, or sort of any brawler game with loads of characters on the screen at one time. It's been really fun actually. I was streaming it like last week, and I didn't realize, but I left the room number open. Like it was just on the stream, and I didn't know. So some people from the stream, they actually joined, and I was like, all right, cool. I was playing with Ali and Seth, my friends. And
the classic join without even asking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, do you guys mind? They were like into it. They wanted to fight, so I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So we let them play, and honestly, the people that joined my game, they were just so good. Like they were like,
Of course they were.
They were like esports meta. Like they just sort of knew all the combos, and but it wasn't a big deal because we at one point we all ganged up on the person just for fun, and it was a free for all anyway, so it didn't really matter who killed who or whatever. It was a lot of fun, and I found a few characters to be this. Okay, so this is one interesting thing I found about Brawlhalla is every character has two weapons that are completely different, right? And they have different combos and whatever, and different like power skills or whatever, like power moves. And when on the map, like when you're playing, like items will drop, but this item is basically in the shape of a sword. So it's a sword, and it's just generic like sword item. But when you pick it up, it molds into what your character's like one of two weapons are, and it alternates every time you pick up a new like sword. So if you want your other weapon, you can like chuck your weapon at someone and pick up this generic weapon, or mold it into the other weapon that your character's allowed. And so one of the characters I was playing had like two like metallic future-looking like fists to fight with, but her other weapon was like this cool blue samurai sword or something. So I was using the sword a lot because I like that. So I'd always throw the gloves away and like try and pick up the sword. It was a lot of fun actually. It was a lot of fun just for some like free to play like sort of quick fun. Obviously because it's free to play, their model is like buying cosmetics, which we didn't bother with, but it's actually a pretty fun game to just muck around with when you're just sort of like when you're done with your main session of gaming and like you're mentally just worn out, just have some fun and play this party game. So yeah, Brawlhalla is one of the games I've been playing, and I do recommend it if anyone wants to try it out. It's free to play, so you got nothing to lose. Controller as well as keyboard. I think we were all playing with controller apart from Sav. He was playing on mouse and keyboard, so I don't know how he did that.
It was bad. Tell me about the one thing I care about. Now, this game is called Brawlhalla, which is clearly a pun on Valhalla. Now, has this game got anything to do with Norse mythology?
Yeah, but I don't, because I'm not obviously good with Norse mythology or any mythology.
Prick.
But like when you die, I don't know if this is even part of it, but when you die, there's some sort of creature that brings you back.
Is it a Valkyrie?
No.
Is it? So it's not like a ghostly warrior woman.
No, it's like this weird, like armored robot with no legs.
Armored robot with no legs.
Obviously, it's,
Does it have wings?
No, it doesn't. It's weird. I don't really know. I don't know if it has anything to do with like.
Well, I mean, the idea of being brought back to fight again is a Norse idea.
I suppose they gave lore behind respawning.
Yeah,
is like coming back for no reason. But
are the characters at all Norse? None of them are like.
No, there's okay. One of the characters that Saf plays is this African American guy who looks like he's in an action movie because he's got 2 guns. So
the only link to Norse mythology is the fact that you get brought back.
Possibly.
Fight again after you die.
Yeah, there's no like real sort of.
Oh, that's disappointing.
But yeah, I mean that's true.
Everyone's on a fucking Norse boner kick right now because of God of War.
Yeah, that's true.
Including me.
So I've been playing that.
I mean, I've always got a Norse boner.
I'm enjoying that. So yeah, that was like last week though. So other than that, it was just Hearthstone. But Hearthstone too. There are a couple of things I want to talk about this podcast. So the Red Dead 2 trailer came out. Like the 3rd one, I think it was. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, have you seen it, and what do you think about it?
I've seen it. I'm as excited for Red Dead 2 as the next guy. Like I've played a lot of Red Dead 1. I played it with my buddy, our buddy. That's and we used to have this thing that we did where we get on horses and we'd we called it jousting because that essentially was what it was. I remember there was a DLC that added tomahawks to the game, and. We'd get on horses and ride towards each other, and the first person who could either kill the horse or the rider would win.
This is a made-up thing that you guys did.
Yeah, we totally made it up. So if you killed the horse, the physics were great. Like the horse would tumble to the ground, and the rider would get knocked the fuck off.
But the horses in that game look the best ever.
They're super good, yeah.
They're just amazing. I don't know how long they must have spent. Like molding, creating horse animations and hitboxes and horse noises and just general action. Oh, dude,
it was brilliant. Like the physics on it, the ragdoll on it was the standard Rockstar. Like when it was over GTA or whatever, it was the classic Rockstar ragdoll. So you kill this horse and you would just just off the horse and hit the ground. It'll be it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we do that. We'd also have like a thing where we go up to the north of the map. There was like a sort of tundra forest kind of area.
Yeah. I think I know what you would say.
We would find bears.
Yeah.
And we would kill bears, and you might think, well, that's pretty standard. You're just hunting shit. We would not only kill bears, we would kill bears with our bare fists.
It's hard.
It's hard, not surprisingly, to kill a bear with your bare fists. And one time we did this, and we happened to stumble across like a random posse of Scottish people. They were either Scottish or Northern, I think they were Scottish. And we just they were like, what are you doing? We're just punching bears. You want to join? You want to punch some bears? And I'm like, yeah, man, let's punch some bears. And we just fucking rolled up some bears. All 6 guys just punching to death. It was great. Oh shit! Yeah, we got some mileage out of the game.
Yeah, that game was good. I remember when me, you, and our friend, we would go up to the really like. There were bears in the area, but we would run past them and we'd go to the very, very top of a mountain where it was snowing. And we would go to this really small like spot where there's a cliff edge, and we would all board each other. And obviously, if you fell off the mountain, you lose. And you just roll down the mountain.
It was great.
That was amazing. That was super fun. Do you remember when one time, me and you, I think our friend was there as well, but we enabled the always drunk cheat. And we did the bear fight.
It's fantastic.
We were always drunk. Yeah.
Fucking fantastic.
Your screen's all like wavy, you're missing.
Yeah.
And...
It's like, you're like Captain Jack fucking Sparrow up in this bitch. It's incredible. Yeah. You've got the classic drunk walk.
But the online, I actually like the online in that. Like it was fun.
It was great. Like, the free roam and all the multiplayer modes sort of stand against standard Rockstar stuff. But it was like that game was kind of game changing. You know, like I remember the trailers for that game. I was hooked on that show. I watched it multiple times. I was like going back every day to see if they released something new. This was 2011, 2010, and like graphically, it was game changing. It was so cool. There was so much detail into everything for back then. Like there were bullet holes and destructible environments. It was crazy. It was so well made, that game, and I'm looking forward to Red Dead 2. It's just it's going to be one of those things, I think, like with GTA 5, where we're all so hyped for it. With the sparse time that we have, we try and recreate the old days.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we'll get into a free roam lobby and we'll try and do some shit we used to do back in Red Dead 1, back when we were all still high school kids. And it just won't be the same.
It never will be.
Because you can never go home, like once it's gone, it's gone. You can't go back and do things the way they used to be.
That's what
the golden days are over.
Like the golden days of Call of Duty, the golden days
That's
of Battlefield,
like,
the golden
it's
days
just,
of rock, like Grand Theft Auto,
Our lives are different now. Like when we game, it's rare that, I mean, for me and you, I think at least, it's rare that we would just go into a game like Red Dead 2 free roam and just fuck about. That's just not a thing that we spend our time doing.
Yeah, it's a timing thing as well. Like we would sit on the dashboard for hours and hours and talk.
Exactly.
And then someone else would come on and we'll be like, oh, we've got enough to like play. We might as well just fuck around. Yeah.
We just spend every evening after school just fucking around on video games. Like we just don't have the time for that anymore because we're adults with responsibility. And I don't know. I'll play the single player mode in terms of online stuff. I don't think I'll play it much, just because for the reasons I just gave.
I think
the single player will be fantastic.
I'll try it out for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely try it.
Do you remember? I think it was called Deadeye in that game.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
It was Red Eye or Deadeye, but that ability where you could slow down time, put your aimer over people,
paint targets.
Yeah, but online it was a bit different. Online it was real time.
Real time, yeah.
You had to still paint your target over the.
It was kind of like McCree's Ultimate Overwatch. Yeah.
You had to do it like instantly.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, super good.
Kill the fire.
So yeah, like I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't grabbed by the trailers though. It's like I like the time period. It's a time period where it's like the book just right on the edge of the 20th century. So it's right at the end of the 1800s, which is the time where. Like we were seeing it in the first Red Dead, but this is even more so. It's like a transitional time between antiquity and modernity. So you're getting, I mean, obviously we had trains and stuff in the previous Red Dead, but now it's going to be a lot. Sort of, I reckon that's going to be probably incorporated into the story a lot more. Like that sort of transition between the old ways and the new ways. So that, I mean, they said this is less. It's less about like the sort of lawless. Wild West, and it's more transitioning into America like we know it now. I think so. That'd be super interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they go with that. But yeah, like I don't know. It's just I watched it. I was like, it's Red Dead.
It's Red Dead, just more.
I didn't know they were doing anything new.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely up for playing more Red Dead for sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh my gosh, amazing.
Is it? Do we? I don't know who we get to play as, but I know that I think John Marston's back. Like
what? What do you mean he's back?
Isn't he in the trailer?
He's dead. Spoilers.
No, but isn't this a prequel or something? Oh no, wait, is it in the future?
No, it's not a prequel. Yeah, it's a.
I don't know. I remember reading articles, and it was basically like John Marston's face in the.
That's probably his son. Probably Jack, right? Is that his name?
Dude, honestly, the saddest part was
John fucking totally died.
when you had to play Jack, it was the worst thing. I wanted to not play ever again.
It's like when you play Elias in Last of Us. It's rough times.
I haven't played that. That's another exclusive I should pick up.
You can borrow my remastered edition.
I need to go pick out that character card off of you as well if I'm going to play that.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to Red Dead 2. I don't know when it comes out. It's sometimes in like.
I'm getting it out now.
Late this year, but it's definitely this year, right?
Showed over this for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on October 26, 2018.
Wow, that's so close.
Oh yeah, you're right. The game is a prequel to 2010 title Red Dead Redemption.
Aha, Mr. Master.
It follows the story of an outlaw, Arthur Morgan, a member of the Dutch Van der Linde gang.
Okay, so you don't play as John Marston, but he's definitely there.
That's interesting. So when was the first Red Dead set? Yeah, this is set in 1899.
The first Red Dead was set in the future, in the year 3000, with flying cars.
I see. Not much has changed, but they live underwater. So this game must have been earlier. Sorry, later. Yeah, it's 1911. Okay, that makes sense. So why was that? No, I must just be straight wrong. Interesting. Oh well, I'm still interested.
Still looking forward to playing it. I'm really looking forward to the hunting challenges.
Oh, I love those.
Like, I just want to go around and just, like, kill like little critters and stuff and like try and do all
For
this.
sure.
You know what the best part was?
It's the best.
It wasn't. They weren't just random. Like you had to go and research, like in the diary or whatever. Like, oh, this belongs here at this time of day, and you have to like wait around, and then you'll hear them, but you can't like start running after them because then they'll run or whatever. Like.
Yeah. So you kill like a boar, an eagle, and some other shit, a wolf or whatever, and then you'd get like a legendary special named animal that you'd have to go kill. So you get like a super rare bear that you have to go fight. And it was so cool. I love that shit. You don't remember the final bosses? It was like the what's it called? Hermit Nestimary quest in World of Warcraft, where you'd have like 4 hunting quests, and then there'll be a final quest where you'd have to go kill a special like elite name.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Coda or
I know what. Yeah. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember doing like the big boss ones.
Maybe that was a multiplayer thing.
I remember it being in multiplayer or something. I remember it being in multiplayer where it was like you got to hunt a certain animal.
Yeah, maybe that was multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was actually. But no, you're right. They were super good. I love those in all games. Like in any game that has the option that lets you hunt like just critters.
Yeah.
And like collect their resources to make shit. Like people seem to hate in Far Cry 3 when you had to kill boars and shit to upgrade your pouches and bags. Capacity. I love that stuff. It's great.
I sort of found it okay at the start, but then I found it inconvenient because what you had to do was go out of your way into a place where you were no longer questing or something, just to go and upgrade.
Well, I mean, I think the way you're meant to do it is you're meant to do it in tandem with the main story.
Right.
So
but sometimes there's no reason to you're not aware of the upgrade.
True.
And then you go and do all this stuff. Like, you don't want it to feel so, like... It was almost like, here's the quest line, and here's, like, the upgrade line, and it's...
The upgrade path,
like this, and then it sort of, like, does this. And, like, you don't want to feel like you have to go out of your way to do it. It should be something that is, you know, doable, convenient, still fun, without you feeling like you have to go and do something, like, completely far away. I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, no, for sure. I understand why people don't like it.
Yeah,
I've always just loved it.
The only thing I don't like in games is when you have to collect herbs and plants, because there's so many. Like, especially in Far Cry 3, you literally just go around pressing X, like getting some leaves, getting some, and it's just there's so much. And there's only so much you can hold, but they're just everywhere. And then you realize
you can't hold all these herbs,
all these herbs. And then you realize that you collected a green, yellow, and red leaf, but there's no blue leaf.
Of course, so you got to go on the blue leaf
area or something, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Actually, thinking about it, the herb collection system in Far Cry 3 and just the general upgrade path in that was very similar to Horizon Zero Dawn. Very similar. It's the same system. Like in Horizon, you'll kill boars and you'll kill goats and pigs and fucking foxes and shit, and you'll get their skin and bones, and you'll make stuff out of. You'll upgrade your pouches and quivers. Out of those, it's an identical system, and also you pick up herbs to make potions and healing.
I don't know. Maybe
it's identical.
Maybe it feels more fun in that game. I don't know.
It does. I don't know why, but I mean, I didn't dislike it. I thought it was good. I can imagine some people fucking despise it.
Versus you shooting.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, you know.
Combat and Horizon are great.
Yeah. Do you think? No, I think this is definitely going to be a thing, but they're not going to talk about it until later. Red Dead 2 I believe will definitely have a BR mode.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, judging by what they did with the
cars will be horses.
It was like the Undead Nightmare DLC.
That was like people said that was one of the best DLCs ever.
It was strange, but I liked it, and in that they had like a horde mode, so it's clear that even back then they were willing to do your generic mode for their multiplayer, you know, because at the time horde was the thing.
Extra quests and stuff, like it was a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, the single player DLC for that game was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was super weird. Everyone was zombies, and there were the 4. You had to do something with the 4 horses of the apocalypse.
Yeah. I remember. I never bought it, but I remember you talking about it.
You could collect them, I think. You could go and capture them.
Could your horses be like undead? Like you had an undead horse or something?
And you could. There's a fucking massive mosquito in the room. I'm gonna smash the fuck out of that real quick.
I just killed a fly in my room, so it's your turn. There's a massive fly in my bathroom right now, and I'm not. That room doesn't exist in my house anymore.
Oh, there is shit.
So if anyone says, can I use your bathroom? I'll be like, we don't have a bathroom. It's dead to me, that room.
Oh, fucking got it real good. Yeah, so like you could, I remember you could bridle horses in that DLC. There were rare creatures you could find. Like I think you could find the chupacabra, couldn't you?
I don't know.
In Mexico, you could count the chupacabra. That might have been that might have been a myth, like the Yeti in San Andreas. I think you could though. Bigfoot, yeah. So, but yeah, I think in the DLC you could hunt and capture and make your own the 4 horses of the apocalypse and war, famine, pestilence, and the other one that I always forget, death. Yeah. That seems like the worst, to be honest. You know, it's like war, bad, famine, bad, pestilence, bad. What do they all lead to? Death. Worst. It just seems a bit weird to me to have the final one be the one that leads, the others are clearly.
Well, in Binding of Isaac, you even have Conquest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Conquest is one of them.
Why? How's it different from war?
I don't know, but there's war,
that's the purpose of war.
There's war, famine, pestilence.
I mean, if they're going to give you conquest, they should also give you like loss, right, or grief, or something like that. Because I mean, if they're going to give you one result of the 2 possible
there's
results,
a boss that's just called being upset.
Yeah, that seems weird. Seems unnecessary. It's like trying to add another sin to the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, they have all the sins too in that game.
Yeah, of course. That's good. I got to play Isaac again. But I have a mouse.
Conquest is all of them together, I believe.
So I mean, again, that's still subordinate.
It's something like that. Like
so
he's not all of them together, but he's like one of the hardest ones. He's supposed to be.
Maybe he's 2. Maybe he's 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 combined or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Because conquest can war combined with death would make conquest, I suppose.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Conquest. But yeah, like that was super cool. The fact you could just capture and ride the 4 horses of the apocalypse. I just love that shit.
Tame horses in that game.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Tame was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, you could tame horses. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm looking forward to it too. I'm going to get it on PS4, and if it comes out on PC, I really don't know if I'm going to get it again.
My PC would. I don't think my PC would run that. To be honest, it's getting too old for that.
No, I think it will run it, but it might not be the best looking. But are you going to buy it on PS4 and then buy it on PC?
I'll buy it on PS4 for sure. I probably doubt I'll buy it on PC.
If money wasn't
like for me to buy a game, yeah,
if
maybe
money wasn't
for me
would you buy it on both? Or would you wait?
For me to buy a game twice, it has to be in the pantheon of fucking amazing video. So I bought Last of Us twice, I bought Dark Souls 3 times. That must be why. For multiple platforms and the Steelbook version.
Yeah.
So I bought Fallout 3.
There are people that buy Binding of Isaac on all platforms, set it up really nicely, take a picture and send it to Edmund McMillan. And
incredible. Yeah.
I like looking at all like how everyone's set up with like the Switch version and the Wii.
Is there a Switch version of Isaac?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and there's like the like the PC version and like with the case even.
I'm gonna get that because Jen's buying a Switch for when we move into the new flat.
I'm pretty sure it's out on Switch. Have a look.
I hope it is.
My friend keeps telling me about it. Like I'm pretty sure it's on Switch. Or if it's not on Switch,
probably
it's
get
definitely
Stardew.
coming to Switch. I'm definitely sure it's close. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be a good Switch game.
Alright, we're going to have to wrap things up real soon. The last thing I want to talk about was apparently Fortnite is so big that people are buying the Fortnite cosmetic like codes that you can get on a card in a store over actually buying physical video games. Like they're outselling real games, but because just the cosmetics.
So it's like a gift card.
So like you go into the game shop instead of buying like an iTunes voucher a code for Xbox Live, you're buying a Fortnite cosmetic code, and people are buying.
So when you say they're outselling games, you mean they're like there's more sales of like there's a higher gross sale of Fortnite codes than there are of all video games, like just all games combined.
I don't know, but either way, it's pretty the same. It's the same, right? Like, it's still pretty insane. Either way, in quantity or in price, like that's insane.
It's probably like number 1 seller Fortnite codes, number 2 seller like God of War or something. It's probably not all games, but It's selling. They've sold more than the highest selling game.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
It's higher than the entire chart of games.
I just think that's crazy. Like, people are buying cosmetics for this in stores when they could just do it online.
Yeah, why? What's the point?
I don't know.
I thought stores were dying, but motherfuckers are buying.
I think that they are kids who don't have their own cards, right? So they have to use mom or dad's credit card or debit card. And so
why wouldn't so they're paying cash for these cards then? I guess.
Yeah. I reckon they're probably the same price, but
spending their pocket money.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, Fortnite for these kids this game is our Call of Duty.
No, this game is what Christianity was to kids 100 years ago. This game is a religious event.
Like, this, when they are
these kids
18,
are praying to this shit.
So when they're 18, you know how many you talk about just now? We were like, oh, the golden days, like Call of Duty after high school.
Yeah.
Their golden days will be like, oh, remember when we used to watch Ninja and play Fortnite?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious, that's so funny.
No, we would have fucking loved this shit though.
Huh?
Imagine if Fortnite and Twitch existed when we were in high school. We would have loved that shit. We would have been on that all day, every day.
I don't want to think about it. I'm glad.
Well, these kids have got it good, man.
They do. But you know what's funny? Actually, I watched. I didn't watch it. Actually, I saw an image of you know, when they do, what's it called? Like, kids react to.
Yeah.
On YouTube, right? I saw an image and someone had like spliced all the reactions together in one long image, and it was kids react to like a Game Boy or something like that. And
I saw that. Yeah.
It was a Game Boy Pocket because it was old and grey, and they were like, some people were like, oh, like, how do you get the apps? One of them was
what
like,
are these buttons?
Someone was like, oh, I feel sorry for people in the past.
Yeah.
I was like,
I specifically remember one kid who didn't understand what buttons were, because they'd never used anything, including like a TV remote and shit, that had buttons. I guess it was all just touchscreen stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to operate.
That's actually crazy. Like, buttons won't be a thing.
Mad.
Buttons won't be a thing soon. The only thing
you'll get TV remotes that don't have buttons. What's this shit?
Screens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like
they'll probably have little previews of the channel on the remote screen. Madness. Wow. How would that even work? Science is crazy.
The guide, you know the guide when you press guide on your remote? That would be your whole screen. Like, it
won't even come up on the TV, it'll come up on the fucking remote. Oh, that's crazy.
Dude, we should make that right now. Like,
we should make that right now. We have the expertise.
With the guide that you can just press.
It's got to be universal, yeah. Holy shit.
Goodness gracious.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so like, and one of the kids, sort of like, a lot of them didn't understand it, and one of the kids said something along the lines of, without this, we wouldn't have all the games. One
of the kids was woke.
Yeah, like one of the kids sort
of one single woke kid,
and he was just saying something like that, like, you know, if without this, we wouldn't have any of the like games that we do now, and like we wouldn't have all the apps on the App Store. Like, these games are like, you know. I disagree, but I can see where he was going, and he sort of understood it was bigger than just a crappy piece of junk that didn't really work.
This kid looks at his grandma and goes, "Wow, you're old and crusty. I appreciate that without you, I wouldn't exist."
I got respect.
I got respect for the crusty witch. that kid is so woke. He's having existential thoughts at like 5 years old. The old crone. The old hag.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're pretty much done here. We are. This is a good time to end, I think. So again,
it's the best time.
The best time. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate it. My name is Sachin. This has been Tom. We are PressXtoTrade.
My name's Dave.
And this has been the PressX podcast. You can find, if you miss it live, we're always going to be uploading it onto SoundCloud, YouTube, and you can see it on the Twitch VOD. We also have also pretty active on Twitter as well, so you can follow on YouTube. So you can follow our social media, which is every social media we have is PressXtoTrade. That is,
the branding is so strong.
Actually, at the top right of the screen, you've got YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud. They're all PressXtoTrade. So I
challenge you to brand better than us. Where's my finger? There it is. I challenge you. Brand it better. Oh, look at my fingers, bro. You see the.
It looks really weird. The perspective is like.
It does look strange.
It's like this huge object.
Wow.
All right.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Actually, so next week I'm going to be away, so I'm thinking about bringing a couple people on. So we might have 2 guests, but we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Tom will be a bit busy, but that's all good. And yeah, anything else you wanna say, Tom?
Do drugs, kids. Smoke weed every day. Always blaze.
Alright, Tom's comments have nothing to do with PressXtoTrade. He is his own.
I don't even smoke.
I don't even see it. Like this kid gets caught and he's like, who influenced you? Oh, this guy on the internet who doesn't actually smoke or do drugs
doesn't
or
even
do
smoke.
anything bad.
I don't smoke, but I'm woke, alright? I'm woke without
I don't smoke.
the aid of substance.
We need that on a t-shirt. I don't smoke, but
Yeah.
I'm woke.
I do need that on a t-shirt, actually. That's the exact kind of shit I would wear.
Alright, see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye. What the fuck was that?
I don't know, man. You do you.